Good afternoon. So, wow. I probably today have one of the most important monologues that I'll ever say. That being said, it's kind of in one of those departments to where it's probably not going to make me a whole lot of friends. In fact, it's probably going to piss off and offend, probably, to be honest, the right individuals, to be honest. Just to be brutally honest. And that's what we are here. We don't cherry coat. We don't play games. We don't feed into stuff. And that coincidentally kind of has to do with what the monologue is. Before we get to the monologue, though, we need to take care of the normal other business. Up top, I want to say that a friend of mine happens to be the same friend that gave me the information yesterday, in which that I only had one word, and that word being blackout. Um, I I just I don't know anything more on that, so I can't give you any more information on that. But what I do know, sorry, I was looking for the dog, huh? So well, call her. Okay, let's see. So anyway, today, sorry about that. Today, I I was informed by the same individual that there was a refueling plane traveling over where we live. So that's something that, to my knowledge, is not something that happens a whole lot. Okay. We do have Scott Air Force Base in the near vicinity, but I've seen Chinooks, I've seen the Big Globe Masters and all that good stuff, but I've not really seen any refueling exercises going on to note at all. So anyway, it was low flying. Somebody that was with her had told her that they thought it was probably a training exercise, and I believe that's probably likely true. So that being said, why? That is something to think about, especially considering the tidbit of information she gave me yesterday. So I wanted to mention that. I wanted to get that out right up front, and then let's go to the Twitter feed, and then we'll see if we can make some friends, huh? So Twitter today. I've had a lot on my plate today, so bear with me. Israel officially admits striking Syrian nuclear reactor in 2007. You know, it wasn't the Russians? Really? Okay. Let's see. Daesh reportedly claims responsibility for deadly Kabul blast. This one, I haven't even had a chance to really look into this at all. Texan bomber kills himself after SWAT encounter. Trump tells police, great job. So apparently the serial bomber sent a package to himself, so to speak. I don't know what to think about that, folks. I had suspicions from the beginning. Again, I haven't had a chance to look into this at all. So I don't want to really say a whole lot yet until I have a chance to do that. Unarmed black man shot to death in own backyard. Britain doesn't share data in Skripal case with us, but demands explanation. Gotta love that, right? We're not going to give you the information, but we want you to explain to us how the information that we probably don't really have is accurate or something like that. They're playing games, folks. And then here we go right here. 40 tons of chemical weapons left by militants found in Syria, says the Russian Ministry of Defense. Moscow says UK is either unable to protect from attack or staged Skripal attack. Let's see. Johnson says trial of responsibility for Salisbury attack exonerably leads to Moscow. Let's see. Scary that Boris Johnson represents a nuclear power, says the Russian Foreign Ministry. And Netanyahu says Israel to prevent enemies from obtaining nuclear weapons, which I seen that, and it was like, wait a minute here. Who are they? Who are we, for that matter? Right? Who are we to say, or they to say, which it's Israel, so they or we, the same thing. I'm racking up those friends, I know it. The same thing. You know, who are we to say who is allowed to protect themselves? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's right. They're trying to take the guns away as I speak. I did make one other tweet since I went live. Sarkozy indicted over Libyan financing of 2007 election campaign, says reports. That was breaking literally as I was going live. So let's get on to this monologue. Real quick, I'll show you. This is one of the things that had me busy today. We've been selling these on Etsy for quite some time, except we've had a rose there in between the blue and the October. Somebody had asked me about the heart, and that was the second request that I had for Blue October's kind of trademark heart. And the first time I did it, didn't turn out very well at all. I wasn't happy with it. I didn't really mess with it anymore. So I did it again, and this time I took a little more time, went about it a little bit differently, and was able to do it. Because believe it or not, it's not real hard to make something look or it's not real easy, I should say, to make something look sloppy on vinyl. So that can get a little bit tricky. But I'm very pleased with the results this time around. The person that was wanting it done is pleased as well. And so that's a large part of what I was doing today. So getting that done, and among other things. So anyway, I just shameless self-plug there, huh? So if anybody's interested in anything, and that's great timing here, Etsy. You can find our Etsy store by going to our website and just clicking the big orange E, and or if you want, you can scroll all the way down, and there's an E at the bottom right too. So either way. Or, actually, there's a link up top. Anyway, let me get started with the monologue. Everybody else is probably going to be clicking off the video going, wait a minute, this guy's just a commercial. Okay, so what I'd like to talk about today is psychology and the enabling of individuals and how that relates to these shootings, these mass shootings, and how it also relates to suicides in society. So it's a very serious issue, and it's something I've seen several different individuals talk about this particular thing, and a lot of them are getting real close. A lot of them are doing a very good job of explaining it. I've even seen Iraq veteran 8888. Later on, we'll be playing a new gun gripe from them, in which they touch on it again, and once before they touched on it, and I think they done a pretty bang-up job, to be honest. Now, I want to explain, first of all, where I come from psychologically. Not only myself, my background, but my knowledge, my experience. Where I come from a young age, I had gotten PTSD. And so I've battled it all of my life. I'm 45 years old. And let me tell you what, I feel for the returning soldiers that battle it, because I am not a returning soldier. I'm not a veteran of any kind. So I can't even imagine what they go through. However, I just, the only reason I wanted to get out there, what it's not for, pity me. No, I want people to understand that I'm not coming from a pencil neck sitting from behind a desk, never experienced it, direction. That's not where this is coming from. With PTSD likely comes many other things. Of course, anxiety, depression, you name it. And, it's real hard to find coping skills. I call them tools. That's what I call them. I call them tools. Things that help you get by. Not easy to do, especially if you don't have a very good support base. Considering the cause of my PTSD should have been what my support base was, there you have it. So that explains that I've dealt with it a little bit. Now let me explain to you about psychology. You get a lot of people that will go to college and they'll get that fancy looking piece of paper that costs them a fortune to get. And they will go and absolutely destroy people's lives because they've got a piece of paper saying they know what they're talking about when they don't have a clue. That's a fact. Psychology is something that you can't read a book and practice. You can't. I'm sorry, you can't. It's not going to work out well at all. Unless you have actual working knowledge and experience. Ain't no way in hell. Ain't no way in hell. Because you see, with psychology, there is no one size fits all. Like they treat it. Oh, you've got depression. Oh, you've got anxiety. Oh, this, that, the other thing. Here, take this pill. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. What kind of gives me an extra upper leg on the subject of psychology isn't just the fact that, unfortunately, I've got the experience. Believe me, I don't wish I had the experience. I don't. But I understand theory of things. And anything I learn, I try to understand the theory of it. I don't want to just know how it works. I want to know the theory of how it works. With everything. Literally everything. I have been able to excel in my life by seeking out theory versus the quick answer. Whether it's working on cars, whether it's working on a toaster oven, or whether it's psychology. Understanding the theory gives me an upper hand in all of it. Now with psychology, different people react to things differently. And on top of that, of course, different people have different experiences. So you've got so many different combinations that it's unbelievable. Psychology is not something that you can teach or be taught from a textbook. Because I'll tell you what, you can take every textbook written on psychology and stack them all in a room, and you'll barely even cover it. That's a fact. That is a fact. So I just kind of wanted to give folks a little bit of an idea of where I come from with this stuff, because I want folks to know that I get this. I do get this. Back in the 90s, there was a huge, and I mean huge, change in psychology, how it was perceived and how the most devastatingly, how it was treated. Back in the 80s was when psychology was even first starting to really get recognized. Psychologists were just considered silly quacks that weren't even officially doctors in the 80s, in the early 80s. In the 90s, they got recognized. And they got funded, and they got supported, and they also got taken over. Okay? In the 90s, instead of putting the focus on counseling, instead of putting the focus on getting to the root of the problem, it changed. It all of a sudden changed to, who can we blame? And it all became about finger pointing. At that point, it was all about finger pointing and who we can blame. And, oh yeah, by the way, here, take this pill. that does not fix it. Okay, that does not fix it. Okay, you're driving down the road in a car and you hit a pothole and that pothole blows out your tire. You can point, scream, bitch, and moan at that pothole all you want. But the next day you come flying through there, hit that same pothole, and you're going to have another blowout. So see, pointing that finger and blaming isn't going to do a damn thing to stop the next time. You have to deal with the problem. That's the only answer. That's the only solution, is dealing with the problem. You've got to fix that pothole. Then it's not going to cause you to blow any more tires. Hopefully that's a decent analogy on that. That's huge. Right now it's all about ignoring the root of it, ignoring solutions. In fact, we'll just blame this or that or the other thing and not do anything. And sadly enough, and I'll be getting to some of this a little bit more later, sadly enough, that's the goal of some individuals. I'll get to that in a bit. This is a multifaceted issue. And it's not by chance. It's not by accident. Folks, this is social engineering. Without a doubt. Because that's the psychology end of it. Now, if you go back and you study Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany, you're going to find very, very, very similar things, especially to what I just said just a second ago. And the other thing that you're going to see is how the fathers, the role of the fathers, whether they be completely removed from the children's lives or whether their involvement in the children was changed. The other thing you see is the positive role models being taken away from children's lives. Okay? Which parents should be positive role models. But I'm talking about outside from that. You know, now you've got J-Lo and you've got Janet Jackson, and I know I'm probably dating myself and really messing up here, but you know what I'm saying. Those are the people that our children are looking up to. Is that what we want our children looking up to? I don't think so. I don't think so. This is not by accident, folks. This is being done on purpose, specifically on purpose to destroy this society. We, as adult human beings, have to be above this, have to be smarter than this, and we need to act on it. We can't just blame. I know I'm saying that they're doing this, they're doing this, they're doing this, but I'm not just saying that. I'm giving you the solution. I'm giving you the key to open this door and to throw this problem the hell out. So we have to fix that. We have to fix that. And that we have to do as a society. For one, with this, we have to understand that relationships and marriages aren't like some freaking TV set that you just throw away because it broke. Have to work on things. And don't we want to teach our children that you should do everything that you can? Not just throw something away. I know I certainly was taught. You don't just throw something away, you fix it. You fix it. You can ask Jen, I'm constantly fixing things. I'm fixing things I don't have to fix. Because, folks, that's the way we should live our life. We should instead of bitching and moaning and crying and this and that and the other, we should focus on fixing solutions. We don't get anywhere unless we're seeking solution. Back in the 90s, or let's see, I guess it wasn't the 90s, I'm sorry, in the early 2000 era, Bush Jr., I'm sorry. We got the No Child Left Behind. Let me explain something to you. Not only did that screw our kids in education, but that also gave us a different type of mindset. And I'm going to go into this a little bit more in a bit, but it gave us a different mindset to where if somebody's doing something really bizarre, we should just leave them be. Let them live life as they see fit. And I agree with that to an extent. But if you're not explaining that there are consequences, then what do you expect other than failure? Now, I see a meme going around on Facebook all the time, and it's a guy that's got like a bunch of tattoos on his face and piercings all over, and he's got the big, giant earlobe things, whatever they call those. And I think it looks goofy as hell. I do. It's my opinion. I'm allowed to have it. And you know, the meme is this guy's blaming the government because he can't find a job. And I get it. I get the point. And that's what I'm trying to convey to you. That, you know, sure, you can do that. That's entirely up to you. But you have to understand and accept that there are consequences to that. Plain and simple. Enough of this, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want, and I don't have to pay any consequences. No. Time we learn to grow up and be responsible. Good example of this, and I'm not going to call the lady out by name. There's a lady, psychologist, mind you, that, and I think she's a great lady. I think she's a wonderful lady. Psychologist, author. And it's a really sad story. She was fighting back hard against the over-medication of children. She was also fighting hard against the indoctrination of our children. But she kind of took it a little too far. And it ended in tragedy. So she taught her child to have a free mind and you know, don't let anybody stop you from doing what you want to do, and you know, she pushed that and this kid was kind of bizarre, I'll tell you. He was kind of bizarre. I'm Facebook friends with the lady, and so I would see the posts and stuff from time to time, and yeah, I don't think I would be real comfortable with some of the stuff that if it were my child. Where she failed was teaching him consequences. And here's the thing, folks. Here's the thing that you have to understand. Just because you might have people within your bubble that will support anything that you do, grown society is not going to coddle you. They aren't. So just because your bubble tells you it's okay, doesn't mean that the rest of society will. And that's important. Because what happens when you face the harsh reality of reality? There you go. Unfortunately, her son took his life. And it's because he had unreal expectations. Because nobody ever sat down and said, look, no, that's stupid. That's unrealistic. That's this, that's that. Nobody ever did that. Nobody ever took the time to explain those consequences, that if he just went and done whatever the hell he wanted, that some people weren't going to be accepting of it. It's something we have to understand here. Sure, do whatever the hell you want, but don't force everybody else to go along with it. Don't force everybody else to accept it, because even if you can get laws passed to force it, guess what? You're just making other people more pissed off. That's all you're doing. All you're doing. You want freedom, but you want to force lack of freedom on others for your freedom. That makes no sense to me. But it's happening from all sides, the right, the left, the middle. Happening from all sides. Like I've said before, we've got a society of dictators is what we've got. And it's not healthy. Certainly not helping this situation any. Society needs to stop condemning the ones that are trying. They really do. I see a lot of it. I see a lot of people that are really trying hard. And society is trying to do everything they can to bring them down. Yet, they will hold up those that are just seeking attention. And you know the difference. Real easy to tell the difference between somebody that is actually trying and somebody that seeks attention. The answer is solutions. Are they looking for solutions? That's simple. Really that simple. If you're not looking for a solution, you're just seeking attention. Now there's a problem with that. There's a big problem with that. For one, you'll find a lot of people that will enable that these days. But how that directly is causing an issue with putting a stop to things that happen, like these shootings, like the epidemic of suicide in our country, is because the attention seekers are clouding who is actually in a crisis. Yes. Because let me tell you something about the people out there that really need the help. They're not out there that every day. Most of them are ashamed. Most of them are scared to speak up. Why? Because society is condemning the ones that try and holding up the ones that are seeking attention. That's why. We're putting them in a corner. The people that need help. And these are the people that are killing themselves. These are the people that absolutely lose their minds, and because they feel like they have nothing else to lose, they go in and they shoot up schools. Society's got to make that change. First of all, they need to accept it. Stop denying their role in it. Stop enabling the attention seekers. It's okay to tell somebody, knock it off. That's okay. That's being a friend. That's helping. One of the things that we need to do is we need to start learning to better direct how we feel, what we do about what we feel. And I'm going to use an example, for instance, and the example is going to be, let's say an unarmed person gets shot, right? And there's protests and marches and stuff like that. Next thing you know, we've all heard it, and even though you guys should know my feelings by now, that half of the time these things are actually started by some type of government-affiliated agency, all of a sudden, next thing you know, Little Caesars or 7-Eleven or whatever is burning down. And again, a lot of times I really do think that there's a government interest behind this. But not always. This is happening. People are doing these things out of anger. Folks, that's misdirected. Absolutely misdirected. We have to learn to direct that. Okay, and I'm not saying go vandalize something. I'm not saying, okay, well, don't vandalize Little Caesars, go to the mayor's house. I'm not really directly saying that. Just saying. But we need to we need to do what's going to actually do something. Destroying something of someone's that had absolutely nothing to do with the problem is not going to fix it. So we have to direct our attention to the actual issue and the root of the issue. And that's why it relates to everything I'm talking about here. Because it's the same with our problems, with our personal problems. It's the same with that. We have to go to the root. We have to go to the root. We can't possibly expect anything to get better. We can't possibly expect to fix anything if we don't seek solutions and if we don't seek the root of the problem. It's really that simple. I'm not saying the task of fixing it is simple, but identifying the problem is. That's how you know the difference between an attention seeker and somebody that's in a crisis. Like I said, you want to know a quick way. It's the people that are being quiet. Reach out to them. They're hurting. I'm going to start closing my monologues like I close the show. I want to explain that because when people hear this, they might think I'm getting ready to close the show, and I'm not. But I just want to tell everybody, and I do mean this. We love you all. God bless you all, and be one with your spirit.